listening to Shop Talk with your host, Kevin Tetz. Brought to you by Eastwood Tools. Everything you need to do the job right.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Shop Talk. I'm Kevin Tetz and we're brought to you by Eastwood. Before we get started on our interview with Nick Licata, I wanted to make sure that you guys know about the Improve Your Skills giveaway brought to you by Shop Talk. It runs from May 2nd through July 4th, 2014. You can enter online at eastwood.com or send in your entry by mail. Promo code is Do the Job Right, all capital letters, so you have to capitalize to get the promo code correctly. Contest rules and instructions can be found at eastwood.com, and the prize is an 18-volt 4-tool combo kit with a circular saw, flashlight, drill, and a reciprocating saw that anybody would be lucky to have in their toolbox. It's never been easier to do the job right with Eastwood. But now, check out what Nick Licata from Camaro Performers has to say about the hobby, the industry, magazines, and getting your car into Camaro Performers or any other magazine. Check it out. Hey, you're listening to Shop Talk. I'm your host, Kevin Tetz, and we are brought to you by the Eastwood Company. Do the job right with Eastwood. Well, we've got a guy with one of those dream jobs on the other end of the line here. You know, there's all these dream jobs, and the grass is always greener on the other side. So we wanted to talk to Nick Licata from Camaro Performers magazine, the editor for that particular magazine. Nick, how are you, man?
Good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing good. I could complain about aches and pains and the cost of bread rising, but, who cares? It's happening with everybody.
Yeah, it won't do any good. Nothing.
No, it won't do any good. But you know what? The fact is that you and I both have pretty good gigs. So I want to start off asking you about Camaro Performers. How long have you been the editor there?
Well, I got this plaque in my office that says I've been here for 10 years, and the plaque is about 2 years old. So I've been here for over 10 years, 11 going on 12 years, and I've been editor at Camaro Performers since 2007. My first issue was the July issue of 2007, so here we are in 2014, and, man, that time just flew right by.
Isn't it interesting how that does? Obviously you really dig your job. Is that a true statement?
It is, and like you said, it is a dream job. I think more so from the outside looking in. There's a lot of administrative stuff you got to do and deal with, but for the most part, we're dealing with the coolest cars on the planet, basically.
Yeah, no doubt. And I've just kind of dove into the realm of Camaro, so I'm stoked to be working with you on some level on that and educating myself into the world of the F-body. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I wanted to ask you also, what's your background for cars? Are you a dyed-in-the-wool, born into it car guy, or did you learn this as a hobby growing up? How did it happen for you?
Well, I lived in Pomona, and I lived right across the street from Pomona Dragway, where the Winter Nationals and the World Finals were. And as a kid growing up, we would always ride our bikes over there and just, go to the drags. And since, I was old enough to cross the street, I've been going to the drags, and I just always got into cars. And through the 80s and early 90s, I played in a rock band, and that gig fell through after a while, and I realized I had to grow up and do something, so I took photography classes. And, 17 years playing bass guitar, and, it didn't get me nothing but a heartache and a bad balanced credit card, but that's a different story. But, just going to the races and being around cars, and I was, getting into photography, and it just kind of, one thing led to another. I was working for Source. It was Prime Media at the time, and I was freelancing doing photography for Popular Hot Rodding and a bunch of other magazines. And they hired me on full time and just kind of morphed into Camaro Performers.
Very cool, very cool. Well, that's kind of an interesting story. As you know, I did a rock and roll tenure as well, and nearly starved to death. And
right.
And I was the front man. You were the bass player, and we both had to cohabitate with those guys that called themselves musicians that were actually drummers. But that's a whole other story.
But you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, that was like 17 years of just going to the school of hard knocks and getting turned down and told you're great and then told no. And it kind of made getting a real job pretty easy because, it was, I don't know, it was just so hard, playing in music that the real job was just like a piece of cake after that.
Well, kind of, yeah, and I've been around a lot of TV guys that I mean, the internet is anonymous. People can be cruel as heck, and you put yourself out there for somebody to criticize, and that's just the way the world is. And if you don't have a thick skin, you can take it really personally, and it can hurt your feelings, and all that kind of stuff. Well, I always tell people that rock and roll beat the ego out of me completely. So the next thing that I walked into, I was completely humble, and nothing could faze me. The worst thing you can do is call me an idiot or tell me I don't know what I'm doing. Well, I know that I do, so whatever, that's your problem. But so to me, it was not wasted time. I had brief moments of thinking to myself, geez, I wish I could have put that 10 or 12 years into something else, and all the energy that I expended on rock and roll and trying to get signed and trying to write songs. The truth is, it was fantastic boot camp for whatever comes next. In my case, TV. In your case, magazines and the print world. So there's no wasted time. It's all good life lessons, right?
No, and you develop the thickest skin. I mean, like you said, anybody can say anything, and it's like it doesn't bother me. I've heard worse, and you just try to put out the best product you can as far as a magazine goes, and a lot of people are going to like it, and there's going to be some people that don't. But the deal is, you hear from the minor majority. I mean, I call them the loud minority. When you're doing something good, people don't really say anything, but when you do something bad, oh man, they let you hear about it.
Yeah, yeah. And now we've got social media reminding us of that every 10 seconds. So
I know, right? But it keeps us in check too. It keeps us in check too. So we got to pay attention to what we're doing.
It does. It keeps you honest. When Ryan and I would dive into a new project on the truck show, we would join the forum of the particular vehicle that we're in. For instance, full-size Broncos. And we would go on there before we were members. Everything, so it's free sign-up and all that kind of stuff. But we would hear people dogging the crap out of us, and where's Stacey David, and what are these clowns up to, and this and that. And then you'd get in there, and you say, hey, this is Ryan and Kevin from Trucks. We want to build a 79 Bronco full-size thing. You guys tell us what's the best thing to do. So you open yourself up, you set yourself up with a big target on your back, and so to me, that's the best way to approach that, and it really, really worked well for us. So, but regardless, there's good and bad things about social media and about this instant feedback that we have, and that leads to my next question. How is the print world responding to the Internet? How are you guys adapting to the instance of social media, the availability of video and pictures on a second-by-second basis? How are you evolving?
Well, the magazine basically doesn't really evolve. It's doing what it's doing, and it's pretty much staying strong right now. But what we have done is we've paid attention to social media, and we've paid attention to our websites. I mean, we have over 1.7 million followers on Facebook, and that is incredible to me. For a little magazine called Camaro Performers to have that many Facebook followers is just unbelievable. And what we've done is we've utilized that to get people to buy the magazine and go to the website. So let's say the new issue comes out. Well, I post the new issue on Facebook saying, hey everybody, the new issue's out on the newsstand, pick it up now, boom. We get all kinds of feedback. Some of it's negative, of course, but most of it's positive. And then what that does is that translates to magazine sales, or that translates to people going to the website. So we've incorporated all the social media to work with us and not against us, and I think we're having huge success.
I think that's a fantastic way to look at it, because you can say, oh my, we want to go back to the past when we had a bigger ad budget and freelance budgets and all this kind of stuff. Because, I've been writing freelance for magazines for about 12 years now, and it's a changing world, and some people are really afraid that it's going to go away forever. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm an eternal optimist, and I was talking with Robert McGaffin about this as well. I don't think print magazines are going to go away. I just think it's going to change and have little add-ons and different ways for people to access that the information and the editorial great stuff that's available on a magazine. I love a print magazine. I love to flip the pages. That's just the age that I am. But for the people that are coming up around us, would you say that the print part is going to be maybe 30%, 50%, 75% of the tangible asset that a magazine is, and the rest is social media and digital?
Well, it's hard to say, but the way I pointed out to somebody the other day, I said, hey, what's funny is albums are making a comeback. And if you think about that, it's like, well, magazines might be that next thing. We've all been on the internet. We've all been, looking at articles online, and they're so hard to read. You don't really spend that much time in front of the computer. So when you have time to sit down and, like you said, pull up a hard copy of a magazine and sit down and read it at your leisure, you know, your eyes don't burn because you're looking into a bright screen. You can, you know, mark your page and come back to it. It's just, the magazine just seems like it's such a great vehicle for the stuff that we do, you know, and I'm optimist like you. I grew up with magazines. I have 2 young boys, and, you know, they read magazines. I don't really see them online reading articles, but I do catch them with Skateboarder magazine or, you know, of course I force Camaro performers down their throat.
Of course you do.
But, you know, I think it's just kind of I think we're at a point where there's no real certainty right now, and I think we're kind of in a limbo zone. One of the things we were talking about Facebook, one time I posted the question on our Facebook page, how many people know that Camaro Performers is actually a magazine? And it was pretty eye-opening that a lot of people didn't realize that. They just thought we were a Facebook site or, you know, a website. And but like I said, a lot of that now is translating to higher subscription numbers and bigger newsstand numbers. Yeah. But, well, you know, it's up to us. It's up to us as a company. It's how we want to continue doing it. I'm just kind of, you know, driving this Camaro train and seeing how far I can take it.
Excellent, excellent. Well, to that point that you just made, my local newsstand is at a grocery store, and sometimes I can get Camaro Performers, sometimes I can't. So I had to go to a Barnes & Noble and go to their giant thing to, you know, because I did subscribe. I want you to know that. I believe in that. I believe in supporting it, and I had a hard time finding the current issue until I went to a Barnes & Noble, and I've got it now. So that's going to keep me up to speed until my subscription kicks in and I start getting them on my mailbox. But, you know, other ways for people to read Camaro Performers. Let's talk to our listeners specifically, guys that are Camaros or guys that love all makes and models of cars, but particularly dig Camaros. How do our listeners on Shop Talk get access to the information that you guys are creating?
Well, everything is on CamaroPerformers.com. Basically, you know, the magazine comes out, and as soon as the magazine comes out, we start trickling that information onto our website. So you can, pick it up on our website. But as far as the hard copy magazine, like you said, Barnes & Nobles, some Targets, some Walmarts. And like I tell people, if you got a local newsstand, you know, go to the manager and say, hey, I want Camaro Performers, you know. The more, you know, more times they hear that, they can carry it. So, but yeah, and everything goes to our Facebook page too. We'll put a link on our Facebook page, you know, on a car feature, on a tech article. Everything's available on CamaroPerformers.com. And we also have the Zinio version. I think there's the Apple version, so you can get it digitally as well. Yeah. So. Neat stuff.
Well, and also to that point, when this interview becomes available, of course you will get links from me and from the Eastwood Company, and hopefully you can blast that on your Facebook page and turn a whole bunch of people onto Shop Talk, and it becomes a win-win for everybody, right?
Absolutely. And like I said, we're just blowing up on Facebook, and I can't believe it. I mean, 1.7 million followers, and you know, by next week we could be at 1.8. It's just growing every day, and it's exciting.
That's fantastic. So what kind of stuff do you put on Facebook? Because there's some Facebook pages that I won't mention the name of that I won't even look at, because all they post is car crashes, police arrests. This guy drove his car into the swimming pool. That guy drove his SUV into the convenience store. Yeah. It's all blood and guts and head turning. It's stupid stuff. I don't like it. So I won't go to that website, even though it's heavily followed, because everybody likes a train wreck. Right. What do you guys put on Facebook?
Well, I agree with you on that. I don't look at stuff like that, and I don't promote that kind of thing. And, you know, you see a lot of websites like, you know, hey, check out this drag car crash into the wall. It's like, you know, we've seen that over and over again. And, you know, we just put on, you know, we have the best photographers. You mentioned Robert McGaffin. He's one of the best photographers there is, and I use him a lot, as much as I can. We make these cars look the most beautiful as they can. In the right light, with the right photographer, these cars look amazing. I mean, the Camaro is already a beautiful car to me. I mean, from the first generation all the way up to the fifth generation. I mean, Camaros are, you know, and everybody has their favorite. But what we do is we kind of try to showcase each generation it's hard to get each generation in each magazine, but throughout time, we'll cover every, you know, generation of Camaro we can. And from there, we put the tech articles. You know, Camaro Performers is a mix of great car features and tech articles, and then sometimes there's some event coverage. There's a lot of cool events out there. We cover that, and we put all that stuff on our website, and it all goes through Facebook at one time or another. So, you'll find basically there's, 3 ways to see Camaro performers, online, in the magazine, through Facebook, what have you.
Right. Very cool. Well, I look forward to catching up with you on Facebook. I've glanced at it. You and I are Facebook friends, blah, 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 whatever.
Yep.
But I want to get on there and see some more of the content that you guys are throwing up there. And I said throwing up. But another question I wanted to ask you is, I get accused all the time of just being a truck guy, just because of the TV stuff that I've been involved with. But the truth is, when I auditioned for RTM Productions, I auditioned for the Muscle Car Show, and I got the gig, except for the fact that I was on a previous, another network, on the DIY network, and the attorneys were racking up their fees, and I wasn't released from my contract in time to get the muscle car gig, and they hired Jared Zimmerman. And so in the meantime, there was an opening on the truck show because Stacey David had moved on with his career, and they offered me that gig. So I said, sure, let's do trucks, because, trucks are cool. It's front engine, rear wheel drive. It's a muscle car, except for you can throw stuff in the back. So I thought, why not? Let's do trucks. For you, Camaro performers, are you a Mustang hater, or is Camaro your mark, or are you the same guy? Are you an equal opportunity car lover?
Well, I'm an equal opportunity car lover, and, there's a lot of people that around here kind of chuckled because before I got the gig at Camaro Performers, now everybody just calmed down. I used to own a Ford. I had a 1963 Galaxy, and it was all hot rodded out and customed out, and then my wife had a 64 Ford Falcon, which, in fact, we still have. So, don't be haters, all you Chevy people, but yeah, I started out with Fords, but I had a 1967 Camaro back in 92, 93. Right. So I've been, all over muscle cars. I mean, I love them all. Anything with a V8 and loud exhaust and a bunch of horsepower, and I'm in. And I'm fortunate to have gotten this gig at Camaro Performers. I've learned so much over the past 7 years about Camaros and the Camaro people especially. These people are hardcore, and I respect that. And I got to say, over the past 7 years, I've kind of turned into one of those guys. So I've been converted a little bit. So yeah, I'm a Camaro guy. You can't. I mean, I got a 71 Camaro that we're working on. I have a 2001 Camaro that makes just a crap load of horsepower, and it's just a bunch of fun. I mean, for those that know Camaro Performers, they know I take this car to the LS Fest every year. I've been to the Optima Challenge twice, once in a Camaro and once in a 40 Ford, believe it or not.
Cool.
That's a different story. I've actually got that gig through Street Rodder magazine, one of our sister publications, and they needed a driver. And, of course, I take my helmet and fire suit with me to SEMA, so there you go.
Yes.
You never know when somebody's going to ask you to drive, right? So you got to be ready.
No doubt.
To answer your question, Nick, I'm about all muscle cars, but I am now curious about how
Excellent. And for people that are just kind of kicked in, we're talking with Nick Licata from Camaro Performers Magazine,
to Shop Talk,
dyed-in-the-wool car guy,
host,
and he's one of us.
Brought to you by Eastwood
He's
Tools.
one of us. So
everything
it's
you
cool
need
to hear
to do the
that,
job right.
that you love it all. And to me, the most
Hey guys, thanks for
to
listening to Shop Talk. I'm Kevin Tetz, and we're brought to you by Eastwood. Before we get started on our interview with Nick Licata, I wanted to make sure that you guys know about the Improve Your Skills giveaway brought to you by Shop Talk. It runs from May 2nd through July 4th, 2014. You can enter online at eastwood.com or send in your entry by mail. Promo code is Do the Job Right, all capital letters, so you have to capitalize to get the promo code correctly. Contest rules and instructions can be found at eastwood.com, and the prize is an 18-volt 4-tool combo kit with a circular saw, flashlight, drill, and a reciprocating saw that anybody would be lucky to have in their toolbox. It's never been easier to do the job right with Eastwood. But now, check out what Nick Licata from Camaro Performers has to say about the hobby, the industry, magazines, and getting your car into Camaro Performers or any other magazine. Check it out.
For classic cars, for early Camaros, and even now late model Camaros.
Hey, you're listening to Shop Talk.
I'm
your host, Kevin Tetz, and we are brought to you by the Eastwood Company. Do the job right with Eastwood.
Turn faster,
we've got a guy
quicker,
with one of those dream jobs on the other end of the line here. There's all these dream jobs. The grass is always greener on the other side. So we wanted to talk to Nick Licata from Camaro Performers Magazine, the editor
for that particular magazine. Nick, how are you, GT Mustang or a Camaro. Never mind the Super Sport, the Z28. You complain about aches and pains and the cost of bread rising, but who cares? It's happening with every second quarter. That's freaking amazing. That used to be a built-up like a 440B body. The fact is that you and I both have pretty lightweight stuff in it. I want to just start off asking you about what kind of power is available from the factory, and they're figuring out efficiency, volumetric efficiency in fuel, efficiency in variable valve timing. All these things are coming in. Computers are controlled.
It's over
awesome
10 years, 11,
what is at our fingertips
and I've been
right now.
editor
And the ability to put these new components and retrofit them back into our classic cars. What a great thing to be able to do. So I think is only going to continue, despite the EPA, despite government regulations. Car guys will find a way. Obviously you really dig your job. Is that a true statement?
It is, and like you said, it is a dream job. You can make a bunch of horsepower. I think more so from the outside looking in, there's a lot of somewhat environmentally friendly. I mean, compared to the way it was back in the late 70s. I mean, like you said, to make a bunch of horsepower, you had to have this, that, and that, and you couldn't drive that car on the street.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, now you have that same horsepower.
And I just kind of in fact dove into the realm of Camaro, so I'm stoked to be working with you on some level on that and educating myself into the world of the F-Wagon. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I wanted to ask you also, what's your background for cars? Are you something that I want to talk about? Born into it, car guy, even if we just spend a little bit of time on it, hobby growing up, environmentally friendly. These cars with multi-speed transmissions with automatic and standard are getting better fuel economy by triple digits, by 3 times than the original muscle cars were. Muscle cars got a bad rap of getting 6-7 miles per gallon out of a 454 on an early first-gen Camaro. Now it's not the case, man. You've got a 6-speed automatic transmission behind that Camaro engine, getting you 22 miles per gallon on the highway, and you don't have to be easy on it. So there's something that needs to be shouted from the rooftops, and maybe you and I can work on this on social media. But there's such a thing as carbon equity. I heard David Freiberger say that, and it's carbon equity. We are recyclers. We are environmentally friendly. We are taking the place of a brand new vehicle being produced at a factory, creating smog pollution, whatever your theories are on carbon dioxide. I have my own. I won't talk about that now. But we are taking the place by reviving an older vehicle, by restoring a vehicle. Not only are we perpetuating a hobby and a skilled trade, we are taking the place of a newly produced vehicle by keeping ours on the road. We are, by God, we are environmentally friendly. That's kind of an interesting story. Part of as you know, I did a rock and roll tenure as well, and nearly starved to death. And I was the front man, you were the bass player, and we both had to cohabitate with those guys that called themselves musicians that were actually drummers. But that's a whole other
so high. But you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world. You know, that was like 17 years of just putting in an old car, going to the school of hard knocks, and getting turned down. And in California, it's illegal to do that. No, you can't take an LS engine and do that without getting a real job pretty easy because you can with the E-Rod motor. But I don't know. It's just so hard, playing music. I don't think anybody's ever done it. I think Freiberger tried it with his 78 Camaro and never got through with it.
Yeah, and I've been around a lot of TV guys that the internet is anonymous. People can be cruel as heck, and you put yourself out there for somebody to criticize, and that's just the way the world is. And if you don't have a thick skin, you can take it really personally, and it can hurt your feelings, and wow, all that kind of stuff. Well, I always tell people that rock and roll beat the ego out of me completely. So the next thing that I walked into, I was completely humble, and nothing could faze me. The worst thing you can do is call me an idiot or tell me I don't know what I'm doing. Well, I know that I do, so whatever, that's your problem.
Actually not. We're actually making it.
To me, it was not wasted time. I had brief moments. Absolutely, and like I said, the important thing also is that we're educating people on how to do this, and all the energy that I, my career in the automotive field came trying to get design and trying to write songs my own cars because I couldn't afford to buy. Fantastic boot camp for whatever comes next. In my case, TV, in your case, magazines and radio and the print away. So I go back to work slinging there's no waste of time because I know how to do that, and I won't ever forget how to do that. So this is arguably an offshoot of it is creating a skilled trade for people that can step into a job that may even have to be filled overseas. So
a lot of people are going to like it,
and I want to get all serious and stuff, but at the end of the day, we're talking about high-performance cars, but there's some seriousness to it, and the deficit of skilled trades workers in this country is another serious issue that needs to be addressed. Sugar trade schools, sugar systems, and ICAR and ASE and all that kind of stuff. Now we've got social media reminding us of that every 10 seconds. Let's get people back into the shops.
know.
And you can make a good living as a skilled trade technician. And, arguably, you don't even have to get your hands dirty anymore. But at the same time, when Ryan and I would dive into a new project on the truck show, jobs at home by perpetuating what we're doing the particular vehicle that we're in. For instance, full-size Broncos. Make a good living. And we would go on there before we were having a professional career on working on it. That's where you hear people dogging the crap out of us. And where's Stacey David? And what are these clowns up to? And this and that. And well, listen, let me change the subject because my blood pressure is getting we want to build a 79 Bronco full-size thing.
You can go back to working in the shop and all that,
open yourself up,
like you mentioned,
set yourself up with a big target on your back. And so to me, that's the best way to approach that. And
because I don't think we have much of a following. Besides, most of our following would be, in
there's good and bad things about social media and about this instant feedback that we have. And that leads to my next question.
They don't drink and party like they used to, so we probably wouldn't be much good for
the internet. How are you guys adapting to the instance of social media, the availability of video,
our people have to get in bed by 9 or 10 o'clock.
On a second-by-second basis? How are you evolving?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't know. I played in a band for a while. It was a one-night-a-month club gig in a club in East Nashville.
Right now.
Big fun.
Yeah,
80s rock stuff, and it was way fun.
And we paid attention
until Saturday morning.
Our website.
And then I realized, okay, I'm not 25.
Over 1.7 million followers
on Facebook. The recover,
and that recovery time is a lot longer nowadays. Called Camaro Performance. I still remind myself, it's unbelievable. About every month or so, I have to remind myself how old I am. I don't recover like I used to. So let's say the new issue comes out. We'll post the new issue on
because
Facebook.
As we get older and we survive it, we get smarter.
Everybody, the new issue's out on the newsstand. Pick it up now. Boom.
Let me ask you this. We were talking about Robert McGavin, and Robert is a fantastic photographer. He took pictures of my jaded Mustang, and I'm forever grateful for him allowing me to look over his shoulder and learn from some of his techniques. And I have mad respect for the guy. But one of the things that we talked about, I think that's a fantastic way to look at it, because you can say, oh my, how do we get our we want to go back to the past when we had a big, I wanted to ask you bigger ad budget and freelance budgets and all this kind of stuff. Points because I've been writing freelance for magazines for about 12 years now, and their cars into Camaro Performance. It's a changing world, and some people are really afraid that it's going to go away forever. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm an eternal optimist, and I was talking with Robert McGavin about this as well. I don't think print magazines are going to go away. I just think it's going to change and have little add-ons and different ways for people to access that the information and the editorial great stuff that's available on a magazine. I love a print magazine. I love to flip the pages. That's just the age that I am. But for the people that are coming up around us, would you say that the print part is going to be maybe 30%, 50%, 75% of the tangible asset that a magazine is, and the rest is social media and Wayne Cook? I don't know if you remember Wayne.
Yeah, he put in
the readers' rides at Modified Mustangs and Fords. It was a thrill, man. It was huge because my car was in a magazine. And what I like, one of the things I like about Camaro Performance is that you guys do have several sections where it's not just this little thumbnail photo. It's a decent-sized photo and a cool little write-up about the car. So even if it's not a full feature, it's still a way to get your car into print. So that's very cool.
And like you said, and hard copy of Reader's Rides is sit down and read at your leisure. You will only be in Reader's Rides. There's a point in time where we could go, hey, remember that car we ran in Reader's Rides? Let's mark your page and come back. It's that nice. The magazine, don't think because it's in Reader's Rides, it's only a Reader's Rides car. We could potentially feature it later on, and
what about photography tips?
I'm optimist like you. I grew up with magazines.
People listening,
I have two young boys, and they read magazines. I don't really see them online reading articles, but I do catch them.
Okay, now you give one out. What's the next?
That's probably the best. And a lot of, and like I said, trying to park it out in the open where there's, not much, not many distractions going on with other parked cars or people walking by right now, and I think it takes some kind of limbo zone.
Yeah,
maybe a street down by you, a location that looks decent, and one time I posted the question on our Facebook page. Show the editors of the magazine, whichever magazine actually a magazine, you're putting some effort into it, and you really want your car in the magazine. That a lot of
what are some of the events that Camaro Performance covers? Where are you guys going to be at?
Facebook site or we're going to be at the LS Fest for sure. Like I said, a lot of that now is translating. I think it's going on higher subscription numbers and bigger newsstand numbers. It's so great. But it's up to us. It's up to us as a company. It's how we want to continue doing it. I'm just kind of driving this Camaro train, and there's one in Fontana coming up. We're going to be at that.
Excellent. Well, to that point that you just made, my local newsstand is at a grocery store, and sometimes I can get Camaro Performance. Sometimes I can't. So I had to go to a Barnes and Noble and go to their giant thing. Because I did subscribe. I want you to know that. I believe in that. I've been really been supporting
the road
it.
course
And
events. We do,
I had a hard time finding the current issue until I went to a Barnes & Noble, and I've got it now, so that's going to keep me up to speed until my subscription kicks in and I start getting them on my mailbox. But, other ways for people to read Camaro performers. Let's talk to our listeners, specifically guys that are Camaros or guys that love all makes and models of cars. Very cool. That's good to know, and I'm sure people will appreciate that. Let's talk about Pro Touring for a second. As you know, and for people listening, we're kicking off a real cool build. I'm building the car kind of in conjunction with the Eastwood Company with our Hands on Cars show.
So you can, pick it up on our website.
It's a 78 D28 Camaro.
Magazine, like you said, Barnes & Noble,
arguably, they made
Targets,
hundreds of thousands of them.
And like I tell
lot of
people,
them around there.
And they can be bought, go to the manager and say, hey, I want Camaro performers,
So the whole Pro Touring thing can get out of hand real quick. You start adding up receipts. Sometimes you can get well into, 6 figures as far as the parts bill goes.
On a car feature, on a tech article.
Let me talk about, or ask you particularly about, let me ask you particularly about the future of Pro Touring, and has it jumped the shark, or are there a whole bunch of guys that are realizing you don't have to spend all that money and spend a little more time on when this interview becomes available? Of course you will get links from me and from the Eastwood Company, and hopefully you can blast that on your Facebook page and turn a whole bunch of people onto Shop Talk, and it becomes a win-win for everybody, right?
You can take a car like you mentioned, you're 78, and you can put bolt-on parts up on Facebook, and you can go out and have a blast with that car, by the half, we could be 1.8 top of growing every day. And I'm not knocking that because I have a really super high-end Camaro coming down the road.
So what kind of stuff do you put on Facebook? Because there's some Facebook pages that I won't mention the name of that I won't even look at, because
there's a lot of guys
out
there that are just having a blast and having just as much fun as everybody else.
This guy drove his car into the swimming pool. That guy drove his SUV into the convenience store. It's all blood and guts and head turning. It's
tires and wheels and having a good
I don't like it. So I won't go to that website, even though it's heavily followed, because everybody likes a train wreck. What do you guys
find out you dig this hobby? Well, I agree with you on that. I don't look at stuff like that, and I don't promote that kind of thing. And a 4-link, whatever you need to do. Websites like hey, this, just work your way up, give it a shot and check it out. But you don't have to have all over again stuff to have a good time. We just put on what I look at. Best photographers.
Well, no, that's exactly right.
He's one of the best photographers there is. And
I came to mind when you were talking about that was the first time that I put a brand new set of BF Goodrich radial TAs on a car that I had just out of high school. It was a Ford Fairlane, 68 Fairlane two-door hardtop, and the difference that set of tires made on that car was unbelievable. You're talking about an upgrade with rubber.
You're not
each generation talking about a full-frame chassis or a strut package or a multi-adjustable coilover shocks. A set of tires, people, makes an unbelievable difference. And then, like you said, you go to sway bars, urethane end links, urethane bushings on your subframe. All these little things, incremental things, don't have to cost a lot of money, but you can get a fantastic result out of those small upgrades. So I'm excited about showcasing some of that stuff with the Zed Sled project. And I just want to say out loud, thank you so much for embracing that and the idea of that, wanting to help out and give a little bit of sunlight. Very cool.
Well, I really appreciate you coming to me with that, because that is just a super cool project, because it is a 78, and a lot of times people think of the Pro Touring cars as the first generation Camaro and in the first 3 years of the second gen Camaro. Well, there's a lot of guys with these 78s and stuff, and the aftermarket is there for these cars. They have plenty of stuff for that car and to make that car go faster and quicker and a ton more fun, and I'm looking forward to being part of it.
Cool, man. Well, I just learned online through it's a forum called nastyz28.com. I'm sure you're familiar with those guys.
Absolutely.
But there was a build thread, lots of great information on these forums, and there's a build thread on there to where a guy's got an 11-inch rear wheel with it's a 315/35/17 on the back of this car without mini tubbing. Holy cow, man. That's a huge rear tire. And you could fit a nice big brake package with that. That's a stock wheel opening. Fantastic. So guess what? That's probably what I'm going to do, because I don't know. I've mini tubbed my Mustang. It was a crazy amount of work. And I don't know. It sets off this chain of stuff that you have to do to follow it. And it changes to the drivetrain. Are you going to put a 4-link in? Wonderful that you can do bolt-ons like that. Just through the correct back spacing and wheel selection and create a footprint like that. It's fantastic. These are great cars.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this hobby is, like, there's no set template. You don't just, plug your car into a template and say this is the way it works. You can do whatever you want with these cars. You can put a 335 tire on there and tub it, or you can put, like you said, a little smaller tire without mini tubbing it. But you know what? It's all in your budget and what you want to do with your car, and that's what makes this hobby so cool.
Well, I think the future of the Camaro is in good hands with you, Nick Licata, and thank you for what you do with Camaro Performers. Are there any people that have had a great influence on your life that you want to give a shout-out to or mention, any mentors or people that you've worked with over the years?
You know what? There's a lot. There's so many people, that I would say, like, maybe silent mentors. Like, I look at the guys like Mark Stilo, and who has done so much for this hobby, obviously a Camaro guy, and every car he builds, he keeps taking it to the next level. Kyle and Stacy Tucker have been huge influence on me with what they do with their cars, and, their driving and stuff like that. One thing I didn't talk about is, I've learned a lot about driving in the past 7 years. I've been to a couple of driving schools, and one thing I do want to mention about Camaro Performers is we drive cars. We don't just sit here behind the desk and write about them. I mean, I've been to the Bondurant School. I've been to Skip Barber School. I've been to the Frank Hawley Drag Racing School. So, I mean, and we get out here, and we've gone to a lot of the Run to the Coast events from the American Street Car Series guys, and we drive the crap out of our cars, and we beat them up, and we break them, and we put them back together. And I think that's what translates with our magazine, is that we are hardcore car guys, and we, like I said, we drive them, beat the crap out of them, break them, and look, there's another tech article, because we just showed you how far we can take this car, and we found the limit. So maybe you won't make the same mistake we did.
But isn't it fun to know that you can use your own two hands and get yourself out of that trouble?
Absolutely. Not me so much. I'm terrible at tech. Everybody laughs at me when they see a wrench in my hand. They're all like, "Oh, somebody go grab Nick before he hurts himself." But but I do wrench on my stuff, and that's kind of the running joke, is that I'm going to hurt myself with a box wrench or something, but let alone give me a welding torch.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. You got to get in there. You got to get elbows deep and get dirty, and that's one of the cool things. And what I tell people is the difference between a painter and a paint gun owner is the ability to get yourself out of trouble, and that's really all we can strive for, isn't it?
Exactly.
Well, very cool. Well, Nick, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, and thank you for your help with Zed-Sled, our 78 Camaro project, and also the great work that you're doing with the Eastwood Company. It's very much appreciated, and the exposure is nice. And, all we want to do is lift people up and elevate them and show them not only that there are tools out there that are nice quality and affordably priced, but also how to use them. And that's why I'm so ingrained in the Eastwood Company now, and what you're doing in conjunction with it is fantastic work. So we all thank you.
Well, I appreciate you giving me a call and letting me take part in this. And then what I will ask you is, when I do come out to Tennessee, is you will show me how to use some of those tools, so people won't make fun of me anymore. I'll tell them, hey, I learned from the best, so you guys can't make fun of me anymore. So let's come out and let's work on something and get greasy and have a good old time.
Well, cool, man. Well, maybe we'll be taping an episode of Hands on Cars during LS Fest, and you can come down here to the shop and we can get stupid.
Oh, that's a no-brainer. I am so in on that.
Cool deal. Well, listen, Nick, thank you so much. We're talking with Nick Licata from Camaro Performers Magazine. I will see you on the newsstand, my friend.
Absolutely. We'll be there.
You're listening to Shop Talk. I'm your host, Kevin Tetz, and boy, what a great conversation with Nick from Camaro Performers. So just remember, get out there, get your hands dirty, and with the help of the Eastwood Company, do the job right.
Special thanks to Nick Licata for taking time out of his busy schedule and his magazine shenanigans to talk with us on Shop Talk. Pretty awesome guy, and I can't wait to see that car that he's building. Don't forget the Improve Your Skills giveaway brought to you by Eastwood Shop Talk that runs from May 2nd to July 4th. Win that 18-volt 4-tool combo kit. I wish I had one, and I'm jealous of who wins. You can enter online or send in your entry by mail. Remember, the promo code is Do The Job Right, all capitals. For now, I'm signing off. I'm Kevin Tetz. We're brought to you by Shop Talk and the Eastwood Company. Do the job right with Eastwood.